Shalom, shalom, peace and blessings. Thank you for tuning in. Welcome to the Fourth Angels Learning Center. And today we're going to be discussing the kingdom being in you, the kingdom. And what does that mean scripturally? I do want to give a disclaimer, like we do believe that kingdom is involved with an actual location, like there is a location of where this kingdom is going to be. But the kingdom is not consistent, is not exclusive to a place, but a reference to a people as well. And not saying that the people in the place have to actually be together. Two, the second element is that there's something that makes you, the kingdom exists with or without you. So you have to be involved with this kingdom in order for you to enter into this kingdom. You have to be involved with Yah and his son, which is the king, in order to enter into this kingdom. So we want to give a clear understanding that the aspect of the kingdom is not necessarily always about a geographical location. All right. So we're going to look at a few verses, but before we go into breaking down this class, we're going to extend to everybody, if you guys want to consider to support this ministry, you can support us at PayPal. You can look at the instructions on the description below. We also have Cash App, and our name is $4ALC Bless. That's 4ALC BLESS. We want to encourage everybody who has not already subscribed to subscribe, click the notification bell, like, and one of the most important things you could do to support is to pray, of course, and to share the videos to allow the video to get a larger reach. If you feel like this video is important by the end of the study, I would ask that you consider sharing this video so that way others can be blessed by it as well. So with that being said, we're going to talk about the kingdom. Now, there's certain things that seem mysterious about the kingdom and the phrase the kingdom, and we just want to bring clarity and simplify this so that way we could understand what we're getting into when we're reading certain when the word kingdom is mentioned in the scriptures, so that way we could understand the context of these scriptures as well and not get caught up on one meaning when it's actually may possibly be talking about a different meaning. So let's go into our first verse, which is in Matthew chapter 5. All right, let's look at Matthew chapter 5. We're going to start at this famous phrase here, verse 19. It says, "Whosoever therefore shall break one of the least of these commandments and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven." The least in the kingdom of heaven. "But whosoever shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven." It says, "For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no way enter into the kingdom of heaven." And I want us to keep in mind, like, the least in the kingdom, the greatest in the kingdom, it's not necessarily referring to a place, but a people, and that you cannot enter into that people. And we're gonna discuss why I'm saying that in a second. There's so many elements as to titles and names and even blood relation that does not necessarily give you access to the kingdom of Shamayim, the kingdom of heaven, but righteousness is what gives you this access. So it's not about being a part of a group here or being a part of a group in a place. It's talking about being connected to Yah. That's why in verse 20 is very important. Your except your righteousness exceed the righteousness of the scribes and Pharisees, you shall in no case enter into the kingdom of heaven. So let's look at that a little bit deeper. Let's go to Luke. Let's go to Luke to see how the word kingdom is used there. Luke chapter 17, looking at verse 20 and 21, Messiah stating, it says, and when he demanded that the Pharisees, when the kingdom of Elohim should come, and he answered them, when he was demanded by the Pharisees, when shall the kingdom of Elohim should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of Elohim comes not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo here, or lo there, for behold, the kingdom of Elohim is within you. So they're talking about the kingdom coming, right? They're talking about the presence of the kingdom coming. And Messiah is making it clear. This is not a geographical location that we're talking about right now. Right now, we're not talking about a geographical space. We're talking about something deeper than that. And this is something that's very important for us to grasp as well. Constantly focusing on here or there, what's so going on over here, what's going on over there, what's going on with that group, that church, this group, what's going on that piece of land, this piece of land. Oh, that's not the real piece of land. This is the real piece of land. None of that really matters. You see, the kingdom of Elohim is within you. And if your righteousness does not exceed the Pharisees and Sadducees, you will in no case enter into that kingdom, regardless of where you think it is, where you know it is, regardless of what group you're a part of, it doesn't matter. So he's saying that the kingdom of Elohim is in you, is within you. So he's trying to establish that this kingdom is being set up, like as they speak. But they're looking at the physical location, like when are we going to get back Israel from the Romans? And he's just like, it's not made, this is not how it's set up. It doesn't get set up that way. That's not the foundation of it. Let's continue to establish this understanding as well. Because this was an established understanding even during the time of the prophet Samuel. And I want to show that he had to deal with this situation with Saul. 1 Samuel chapter 15. 1 Samuel chapter 15. We're going to look at verse 28. Look at what it says. 1 Samuel chapter 15, verse 28. It says, and Samuel said to him, Yahuwah has ripped the kingdom of yasharal or Israel from you this day and has given it to a neighbor of yours that is better than you. So he says that he ripped the kingdom of Israel from Saul. Now we understand the authority, the kingship, the rulership. We understand it went to David, but listen to this phrasing, that he took the kingdom away from you. Now, I want to show very clear that Saul did not stop ruling in Israel after this moment. So even though Yahuwah has presently ripped the kingdom of Israel away from Saul, he was still ruling and possessed authority in the geographical kingdom of Israel. Let's go to another verse. Let's go to chapter 28, verse 17. It says here, Yahuwah has done to him as he has spoken by me. Yahuwah have ripped the kingdom out of your hand and has given it to your neighbor David. Okay. So what happened here? What is this? What's actually being transferred? Well, the interesting thing is that right before Saul was made king, he was anointed. It says here in 1 Samuel chapter 10, verse 1, it says, then Samuel took a vial of oil, poured it upon his head, kissed him, and said, it is not because Yahuwah have anointed you to be captain over his inheritance. Is it not because Yahuwah have anointed you to be captain over his inheritance? So he put oil over him and then anointed King Saul. But what does that mean? What is this a representation of? Look at what it says in verse 6, the Ruach of yahuah will come upon you, and you shall prophesy with them, shall be turned into another man. He is receiving the ruach, the spirit of Yah. He is being anointed and receiving the spirit of Yah and being turned and being a transformed man. He's yet. Let's look at what else it describes it as in verse. Let's see, in verse, I think in verse 9 it says, and it was so that when he had turned back to go from Samuel, Elohim gave him another heart, and all those signs came to pass that day. So he received the ruach, the spirit of yahuah. He became another man. He got a new heart, and he also at the same time received the kingship. So what is the kingdom? So when it says the kingdom was ripped away from him, but he still was in that physical rulership position, what was he giving to David? Well, let's go. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. This is what he was given to David. Verse 13. Then Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the midst of the brethren, and the ruach of yahuah came upon David from that day forward, and Samuel rose up and went to Ramah. He took the spirit away from him, away from Saul that day, and he gave it to David. So remember, in chapter 15, he's taken the kingdom of Israel away from him. And then in chapter 16, he's giving it to David. Now, David, even though he had the authority from Yah, he did not rule over the kingdom of Israel at that moment. When he was anointed and the tribes of Judah saw that he was anointed and understood that, they followed him when he was getting chased by Saul. But he didn't take this away from him, nor did David even try to take it away from him. You see that? So the kingdom that he ripped away from Saul was given to David that same day. He was anointed with oil and received the ruach just as Saul did in 1 Samuel chapter 10. So what is this saying? That the kingdom of heaven is in you or is within you is very important for us to understand, because there's so much of this outward emphasis that people forget that you can't eat. You're not even really a part of this kingdom unless you receive the spirit of Yah. You can't even be where the geographical location is. You're not even allowed to dwell there for all eternity without the kingdom being in you. So you need to understand this is probably the most important aspect to the kingdom than the physical geographical location. Because Saul would stay there until he died in battle. But Yah took away the kingdom long time ago. So we got to understand what it means by the kingdom is within you. It's not by observation. It's not a geographical location. Hey, this is over there. We're going to go to the kingdom of Israel. It's going to be set up. It's set up in you. How is a kingdom set up? Kingdom is set up with a king. So a king has to have rulership over you. You are the possession of the king. He has to have rulership over you. Matter of fact, you are the temple of the ruach. So your body has to be the location, the geographical location of where the ruach dwells, of where the king is located. So the kingdom has to dwell in you. You have to be it. Primarily. Let's continue to look at the description that the scripture gives. Like, the scripture not only referred to the kingdom of the spirit, but also the kingdom of Israel as the people who possess the spirit of Yah. If you have the spirit of Yah, you are amongst or a part of Mount Zion, the New Jerusalem. Let's look at a few verses. We're going to start with Isaiah. Let's start with Isaiah chapter 1, right? So look at this. All right, let me share my screen here. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 1, looking at verse 25 to 27. All right, check this out. It says, I will turn my hand upon you, purely purge away your dross and take away all your tin. I will restore your judges as at the beginning. So he's going to restore judges. He says, and your counselors as at the beginning. After he restores the leadership, he says, you shall be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. What is he referring to? He's not referring to the geographical location. He's referring to the people. The people will be referred to as the city of righteousness, the faithful city. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment and her converts with righteousness, meaning that Zion, or the people, are going to be, promoting this light, promoting this truth. So the people is referred to as the city of righteousness, the faithful city, because the people are now restored to understanding, restored to a way of living. Let's look at a few more verses. Let's go to chapter 40 of Isaiah. Chapter 40, verse 9, it says, O Zion. Now, Mount Zion is a mountain, is a location in Israel. So this is using a geographical location to refer to the people, calling them Zion, that brings good news, get you up into the high mountain. O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, that brings good news. Lift up your voice with strength. Lift it up. Be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Yehuda or Judah, behold your Elohim. So it's very clear that all these elements is not talking about geographical locations personified. It's talking about the people that dwell in these cities are referred to as Zion, Jerusalem, the cities of Judah. I think you guys understand this aspect, but what does it have to do with the spirit? Let's look at a few more verses real quick. Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to Matthew chapter 2, verse 3. It says, when King Herod heard all these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem was with him. And all Jerusalem was troubled with him. So think about this. It's not talking about the place. All Jerusalem is talking about the people. Let's look at Acts. Acts chapter 21, verse 31. So the phrasing of geographical locations is referring to the people, not actual places. It says, and as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band, and all Jerusalem was in an uproar. So it's talking about the people. The people were in an uproar. Matthew chapter 3, verse 1 to 5. Listen to what it says about John the Immerser, John the Baptist. It says, then came John the Immerser preaching in the wilderness of Judah or Judea, saying, repent ye, the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? For this is he that has spoken by the prophet Yeshayahu or Isaiah, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of Yah, make his path straight. The same John had his raiment of camel's hair, a leather belt on his loins, and his food was locusts and wild honey. Then went out to him Jerusalem, all Judea, and all the region round about the Jordan. So he's talking about, and it says, and they were baptized by him in the Jordan, confessing their sins. So he's talking about these regions, these people, these cities coming out to him. Jerusalem came to me. Judea came to me. All the cities around Jordan came to me to be baptized. He's not talking about the place. He's talking about the people. Now, this is what they normally understood as well, that the people that dwelt in these cities was also referred to as Jerusalem, was referred to as Judea, was referred to as, Zion. So what does this have to do with the Ruach, with the Spirit? Well, Hebrews chapter 12 tells us by the entering in of our relationship with Yah, that we have come to these geographical locations, that we are now a part of them. Look at what it says. Verse 22, it says, but you are come to Mount Zion and unto the city of the living Elohim, the heavenly Jerusalem, and to an innumerable company of angels, to the general and called out assembly of the firstborn, which is written in heaven, and to Elohim, the judge of all, and to the Ruachot and just men made perfect. So it's very clear that in our relationship with Yah, that we are now coming to Mount Zion, that we are now a part of the city of the living Elohim, that we are now a part of the heavenly Jerusalem, that we are not only a part of that, but we're a part of the general called out assembly of the firstborn, which is written in heaven. So the spirit is what allows us to be a part of these things. It's kind of like an inheritance. Like those things belong to us. We are now associated with those things because of this city and this being an actual heavenly place. We are now a part of we're citizens of this geographical location. Like we are as if we were born in a part of Zion, a part of Jerusalem, you know, and we are a part of this assembly as well. So this is so important because this mindset and this understanding is also kind of forgotten in regards to the understanding of Israel, you know, especially with the whole replacement theory, Israel, spiritual Israel, blah, 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 blah. We're going to come out with a video breaking that down soon because there's no such thing as a separation of Israel and spiritual Israel as far as dispensation is concerned. There is a difference between blood relatives of Israel and Israelites that's a part of Israel. There is a difference. So we have to understand that difference rather than literal Israel, spiritual Israel. So we're going to talk about that right now. Romans chapter 9. Romans chapter 9. I think it's very important to kind of touch on this here in chapter 9 and chapter 10 as well. Well, let's look at chapter 9, verse 3 to 9. It says, "For I wish that myself was accursed from Mashiach or Messiah for my brethren, my kinsmen according to the flesh." So what is he talking about? My blood relatives, my kinsmen, right? It says, "Who are yasharal or Israelites, to whom pertained the adoption was given to them, the glory, the covenants was given to them, the giving of the Torah, the service of Elohim, and the promises were all given to yasharal or Israel. Whose are the fathers, and of whom, as concerning the flesh, Messiah came," meaning Messiah came for them, for his relatives, the children of Abraham, who is over all, Elohim, blessed forever, amen, talking about Mashiach. So he came for the Yahudim, the Jews in Israel, the lost sheep of Israel. We could see him mention that in his mission when he came here. He says, I'm here. Salvation is of the Jews, referring to the tribe of Judah. And he says, go to the lost sheep of Israel, referring to all the other tribes. So he made a clear message, a distinction. He even tells his disciples not to go to the nations at that time. Even though individuals from the nations was hearing about this and coming to him, he instructed them not to go to the nations at that time. There was a time in which they did go to the nations, but this is not, when he came, it wasn't so he can go and spread the truth throughout the world like he's asking Israel to do. He came to do a specific mission, and that's what is mentioned here. It says, who's the fathers, and to whom, as concerning the flesh, Messiah came. So he came to his people, relatives. It says, not as though the word of Elohim is taken in effect, for they are not all yasharal or Yisrael, which are of Israel. This is talking about the person. They are not all Israel, which is talking about his people, which are of Israel, which is talking about the man Israel. So just because you are from the man Israel doesn't mean you are a part of the people, which is referred to as Israel. He says this statement again in the next verse. Neither because they are of the seed of Abraham that they are all children, but in Isaac shall your seed be called. That is, they which are the children of the flesh, these are not the children of Elohim. Children of Elohim are not people just born blood relatives, don't make you a child of Elohim. Just because you are born doesn't mean you are, just because you are born of Abraham or born of Jacob does not mean you are a child of Yah. It says the children of the promise are counted for the seed, meaning those who are of the faith, and have received the promise, those are the ones that's counted as the children of Abraham and the children of Israel. The children of Israel that has not believed in the promise are not counted as the children. We know that. Messiah made it clear in John chapter 8. John chapter 8, he made it clear, telling these children of Abraham. He referred to the children of Abraham, and he said that you are not Abraham's children. See, he says they answered and said, we are Abraham's seed. Verse 33 of John 8. We've never been in bondage but to any man. How do you say we need to be free? He says, truly, truly, I say to you, whoever commits sin is a servant to sin. The servant abides not in the house forever, but the son abides forever. So he's telling them to be free from sin. It says, if the son therefore make you free, then you are free indeed. He says, I know that you are Abraham's children. I know that you're related to Abraham, but you are trying to kill me because my word has no place in you. So he says, I speak that which I've seen of my father, and you do what you've seen from your father. Is he talking about Abraham? No, he's not associating them with Abraham. Look what he says next in verse 39. They answered and said to him, Abraham is our father. Now he makes a disconnect. Even though he said earlier, you are the children of Abraham, but you're trying to kill me. Now, when they're boasting in their blood relation to Abraham, he makes this distinction. He says, they said, Abraham's our father. Yahushua said, if you were Abraham's children, then you would act like Abraham. You would do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth, which I have heard from Elohim. Abraham did not do this. You do the deeds of your father. Then they said to him, we're not born of fornication. We have one father, even Elohim. Look at what he says here. Verse 43, why do you not understand my speeches? Because you cannot hear my word. You are of your father, the devil. So these children of Abraham, he says, if you was Abraham's children, after he made it clear, you are Abraham's children. But if you were connected to Abraham, if you were counted as Abraham's children. See, you could be related, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be treated, looked at, or counted as Abraham's son. So he says very clearly, you are of your father the devil, and the lust of your father you will do. He is a murderer from the beginning and abode not in the truth, and because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks of his own, because he is a liar and the father of it. And he says, and because I tell you the truth, you do not believe me. So he makes it very clear. Just because you are related to Abraham doesn't mean you are Abraham's children in Yah's eyes. Just because you are related to Jacob doesn't make you Jacob's child in Yah's eyes. Just because you are of the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of Israel, don't make you a part of the kingdom of Israel in Yah's eyes. You can be present on earth in an earthly geographical location with the actual people of Yah, the righteous people of Yah, but that don't mean that Yah is not going to separate you before he comes. He makes it clear. The sheep and the goats, you depart from me. Workers of iniquity, I never knew you. So he makes it very clear that the Ruach, the relationship with Yah, the righteousness is what makes you connected to Yah. And when you are connected, you have access, you have citizenship, you have inheritance to the commonwealth of Israel. All of the things that pertain to Israel, You are directly connected. You are a recipient of those things. If you are a blood relative of Israel and you are not righteous, not walking in righteousness and walking in wickedness and doing the works of the devil, you are not according to the promise. You are not going to receive the promise. You are not going to receive the inheritance. You're not going to receive none of those things. This is what he makes clear. You can be Abraham's children all you want. Let's look at Deuteronomy real quick. Deuteronomy, let's go to chapter 10. Deuteronomy chapter 10. We're going to look at verse 16, and then we're going to go to chapter 30. Look at Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 16. It says, circumcise therefore the foreskin of your heart, and be no more stiff-necked. Circumcise your heart, be no more stiff-necked. Deuteronomy chapter 30, looking at verse 6. It says, yahuah Elohika will circumcise your heart and the heart of your children to love yahuah with all your heart and with all your soul, and that you may live. Circumcise your heart. This is important. Guess what? All of these children, this is Deuteronomy 30. All of these children are children of family that has been circumcised, that they have been keeping the law for 40 years, right? They have been circumcised. They have been, blessed and given all these things, as we read in Romans 9. But he's saying, circumcise your heart. This is the most important thing that we need to have. It doesn't matter what you have outside, circumcise your heart. Matter of fact, these children in Deuteronomy 30 is the generation after those 40 years. They're about to go in to the kingdom with Joshua. Now, in Joshua chapter 5, he shows, not chapter 5, in Joshua, he shows that this generation is not even physically circumcised, because he has to circumcise them before they cross the Jordan. Before they cross the Jordan and take over Jericho, before they keep the Pesach right outside of the Jordan, he has to circumcise all the children of Israel right before they keep Passover. So all of these children is not even circumcised, but he's telling them to do the most important thing first. Circumcise your heart and the heart of your children to love yahuah with all your heart and with all your soul, that you may live. And this was the most important thing, to go and possess the land. To possess the geographical land, you have to have something inside of you. And it's not your DNA, it's something else. Verse 5 of Deuteronomy 30, it says, yahuah will bring you into the land which your fathers possess, and you shall possess it, and he will do you good and multiply you above your fathers. And yahuah will circumcise your heart and the heart of your seed. Why did they go into captivity after they went in? Because their heart was not circumcised. Because their heart was not circumcised. Let me see if I can find it before we close. So the kingdom of Yah, the kingdom of heaven is at hand. This is what John said, right? Look at what it says here. Look at what John the Baptist says here in verse 8. It says, bring forth therefore fruit due for repentance. It says, and think not to say within yourselves, we have Abraham to our father. Messiah had to deal with that. Still, John the Baptist dealt with that. Now, Messiah had to deal with that in John chapter 8. And John the Baptist is saying, don't say that we have Abraham to our father. I'm going to tell you now that Elohim is able by these stones to raise up children of Abraham. Now also, the axe is laid at the root of the trees. Therefore, every tree that brings forth not good fruit is cut down and cast into the fire. Very clear. You are going to get cut down even if you are related to Abraham. Stop saying that you are. And he's talking about, John the Baptist is understanding what's in their minds. He says, think not to say within yourselves. He's understanding, he's discerning what these guys are thinking in their minds. Yah is revealing this to him. Stop saying in your own mind and in your heart, boasting, oh, I'm related, I'm chosen, I'm this. Yah can take stones and make children of Abraham. Very clear. The kingdom is in you. In order to possess the physical kingdom, you have to have the kingdom inside of you first. This is the access. This is the only way we get access into the actual geographical place or the inheritance, the geographical inheritance. It's the only way. You cannot receive this geographical inheritance without your heart being filled with the kingdom first. The kingdom has to be within you. You have to be known. You have to be seen like you don't belong here. Why? Because this is not your kingdom. So the way that you act, the way that you speak, the way that you think, the way that you move, the things that you do is a reflection on what kingdom you are a part of. You are not a part of this world. So if you are not a part of this world, why are you connecting yourself to these geographical locations when Messiah made it clear? It's not about observation. It's not over here. It's not over there. It's in you. So that's why you're able to go into captivity and Yah is able to see you and deliver you and gather you because he's able to see where his kingdom is. He's able to see where his people are. He doesn't need you to be in one geographical location to see you. He can see you wherever you are. And he will bring you to the place that he wants you to be. You know, go check out the video that I made. It's called Let Them Have Canaan. It goes into a lot of earth details why our earthly perspective shouldn't be on that geographical location, you know. So I hope that this was a blessing to everybody. And I hope that you guys understand and pursue the kingdom of Yah because it's at hand. It's here. And Yah wants it to be in you. And so do I. So praise Yah and look forward to the next study. Shalom, everyone. Shalom, shalom. Thank you guys for joining our study today. I hope that it was edifying. And if you want to support this ministry, you can support us on 4alc.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube page. Click the like button and the notification bell. I hope to see you guys on the next study. Shalom, guys.